Chlor Quat. You ever heard of this Chlor Quat? It's a pesticide that disrupts the reproductive system and fetal growth in animals. Now, there have never been studies done on humans, so we don't know, but typically anything that causes birth defects and fetal abnormalities and disrupts reproductive ability of mice and cats and dogs and things also does it to people. And so this chemical is not supposed to be used on food in the United States. It's okay to use it for ornamental plants. You can put this Chlor Quat on your poinsettias, but you can't put it on your potatoes. Except 77 out of 96 urine samples taken between 2017 and 2023 found, this is from the environmental group, the environmental working group, found this chemical, Chlor Quat, in the urine of human beings. And then they started testing foods. What foods are the vector through which this stuff is getting into our food supply, into our bodies and ultimately coming out as urine. And it turned out that 92% of oat-based foods sold in May of 2023, which was the month that they did this survey, including Quaker Oats and Cheerios, contained Chlor Quat. Studies have found that it can damage the reproduction system and disrupt fetal growth in animals. The EPA allows Chlor Quat to be used on ornamental plants only, not food crops. However, its use has been allowed since 2018 on imported oats. So this would be the Trump EPA gave them an exception, and apparently they're still using it. The nonprofit advocacy group said, until the government fully protects consumers, you can reduce your exposure to Chlor Quat by choosing products made with organic oats, which are grown without synthetic pesticides such as Chlor Quat. Quaker Oats, by the way, is a division of Pepsi. So not exactly your health food company, but shouldn't be all that strange. And finally, in vitro fertilization in Alabama is apparently now on the way out. The anti-abortion movement has been rather outspokenly opposed for years to in vitro fertilization. And the reason why is because when you do in vitro fertilization, what you do is you give mom a bunch of hormones that cause the production of a bunch of eggs. You extract those eggs and you put them in a petri dish with sperm from dad and you let them connect to each other. And then you carefully pick out the 4 or 5 embryos that are now growing that look like they're strong and vigorous and they're going to do well. And you take the rest of them and you can freeze them. But the 4 or 5 that you use, you implant in mom. And, if more than one grows, you make a decision. Are we going to have twins or triplets or quadruplets, or are we going to abort all but one of the fetuses? But because not all of these fertilized eggs end up as human beings, the anti-abortion freaks have been just opposed to this because they view these fertilized eggs as fully human. And if the law were to ever acknowledge that, to recognize fertilized eggs as human, as being human beings, as having the legal rights of human beings, that would mean that you can't do IVF anymore because you have to pour a bunch of them down the drain when you do it. Well, it just happened. Alabama, the Alabama Supreme Court just ruled that under the Wrongful Death of a Minor Act, that this law that prosecutes people for killing children, basically, can be applied to people who are getting in vitro fertilization. In this case, the 3 couples, Jason and Emily LePage, William and Carolyn Fond, and Felicia Burdick Asane and Scott Asane, went to the Center for Reproductive Medicine in Alabama for IVF procedures. Each couple had embryos created. Each went on to have 2 children from some of those embryos, leaving the rest in storage. And in 2020, a patient from an adjacent hospital went wandering through the clinic's halls, made their way into the freezer storage room, removed some of the embryos and dropped them, destroying them. So these 3 couples sued, saying, you just killed our babies. And the Alabama Supreme Court heard the case on appeal and found that the couples found 4 of the couples holding that the death of their embryos counted as wrongful deaths of minors under Alabama's law. So this is going to get really, really weird. Keep an eye on this. It's just, the Dobbs decision just opened the door to all kinds of wacky stuff. And, this being right up at the top of that list. So keep an eye on what's going on with this. All that said, what's on your mind? I'll pick up your calls on the other side of this break. A lot to talk about, a lot going on in the world.